When we think about the economic shift that is taking place from Europe to the United States, from the United States and North America into the Asian marketplace, one cannot deny that we are in perhaps the most challenging economic period of any of our collective lives. And I think it is predictable. It's something that we should have expected, although very challenging to determine exactly when that would take place. But with the development of the European Union, the model that they're operating under, the debt levels that some of the countries within the European Union are bearing right now, and then the model that the United States has used to grow their economy, which has really been to lever existing resources, lower interest rates, and try and build their economy through infusions of capital, I think had to both come to an end. I think it's pretty clear if you look at the economic indicators that both the United States and the European Union were going to reduce their overall global economic impact, much in the same way that Japan lost its economic power about 21 or 2 years ago now when it went through some of its large banking kind of challenges. So when I think about what builds an economy and what is it that we need to do to be successful in British Columbia, I often think about things like productivity, resources, and really filling the demand in the global market and reaching out into areas that are showing growth and have economic opportunity. And who can doubt for a second that that is taking place in the two very large countries of China and India right now? They have got a long economic record in those two countries of being global superpowers that stretches back 5,000 plus years. And it's only really been the last 100 or 200 years where we have seen bigger economic challenges in both those countries, and really as a result of governance in both cases, a bit of a hiccup in China trying some things around Mao's views of communism and how that might work. India having some real challenges with their governance model and creating trade barriers and restrictions and not allowing for free and open market trade. But both of those countries, I think, really acknowledge and understand their role globally now and are looking to expand and grow. So how does British Columbia fit into that economic context? How does British Columbia step into what will be a huge economic shift that's taking place in the European market, the United States market, and shifting into the Asian marketplace? There's tremendous risk out in front of us that we don't take advantage of the opportunity that is there. But if we capture it, the benefit, the rewards to British Columbia, I think, are truly tremendous and can put us in a position where 10 years from now we can look back and say, well, British Columbia accomplished some tremendous things over the last decade that really passed by much of the rest of the world. And that's what the theme has been built on in our jobs plan. Christy asked me to take on this role about 1.5 years ago, and for the first month or so I spent some time thinking about what is it that has really imprinted upon me that I think is important, and it comes down to two pieces of work. The first by a guy by the name of David Baxter, who's with the Urban Development Institute, who back in 2002 wrote a paper on building the economy in British Columbia. And really what it came down to in David's paper was the notion that if you're going to be successful, you need to focus on what he refers to as first dollar industries. Industries that bring in a dollar from another economy into the province of British Columbia that is then spent many, many times. So I've traveled the province extensively, and I've yet to have any community say, well, I don't really know how we fit into this. Virtually every community's been able to look at it and say, we can take advantage of this, this, and this. So I'll walk you through the 8 sectors and talk a little bit about each one of them, and I'm going to focus finally on one that I think we have some experience in and explain how we're trying to replicate that across the other sectors. 4 of the sectors are in the natural resource business. Agriculture, because you have to eat to live, right, Val? She always reminds us of that. Mining, natural gas, and forestry. So I think it's probably apparent to most people why each of those has been selected, but clearly forestry, we have a tremendous natural resource base out there. There are some challenges as a result of mountain pine beetle, but we have an annual sustainable cut, even without mountain pine beetle, of 60 or 70 million cubic meters of fiber per year. We have, of the top 5 forest products companies globally, we have 3 of those 5, number 1, number 2, and number 5, headquartered here in British Columbia in West Fraser, Canfor, and Tolquan. Mining, I've talked a little bit about already. Jeff and I spent a lot of time working on that. Again, an incredible wealth of natural resources, but also the largest cluster globally of junior mining exploration type companies in the world, in Vancouver. In fact, we probably, I don't know that this is statistically 100% accurate, but it is certainly close enough. for the purposes of this speech, we probably have the most geologists globally located in Vancouver. If we don't, we would be very, very close to having the most geologists. People don't realize the amount of wealth that's being generated out of Vancouver as a result of the mining industry. It is tremendous. Natural gas opportunities are enormous because of our geographic location to new markets. The tremendous tight gas asset that we have up in the Peace, and our ability to develop new technologies to extract that. And then agriculture, our fresh to market opportunities are tremendous, and that was really a key part of the theme that Val and I worked on when we worked on the Ag Plan, was looking at how we could extract that fresh to market opportunity. And it really has evolved as a result of the air shipments back into the Asian marketplace. They are hungry for our seafood, for our fresh products like blueberries and raspberries, some of the other key products that we have in the grape and wine industry. And the fact that we have flights going back to Asia on a regular basis loaded with that cargo now, I think, is a testament to the opportunity that has been here in British Columbia and will continue to expand. Outside of the natural resource sectors, there are 4 other sectors that are key to British Columbia, and when I think about Delta and Tsawwassen and the opportunities associated with it, clearly ports is one of those. Already a key economic driver in the area, one that has served the area very, very well, and one that I know comes with lots of controversy. I understand that. But again, when you look at communities across British Columbia, the port opportunity is tremendous here, and particularly up in the northwest. If you look at Prince Rupert and the work that has gone on there over the last number of years, they've gone from just a few million tons of cargo a couple of years ago to about 18 million tons last year. They're projected to be well over 20 million tons this year. And if you talk to Don Crusell, who's the CEO of the Prince Rupert Port Authority, he is of the view that they could get to 100 million tons over the next 5 or 6 years, which gets them very close to the Port of Metro Vancouver, which is about 120 million tons per year. So ports, marine, and aerospace are key opportunities. We have an enormous aerospace cluster out in the Fraser Valley in the Abbotsford area, as well as in Kelowna. We've got some very, very large aerospace companies. Victoria is developing a nucleus. We've got a lot of people working in that area, and the key strategy or the key benefit that we have in aerospace is our proximity to Washington, which is host, of course, to Boeing, and also Airbus has very, very large presences down in there. In addition, the airport YVR is a key opportunity in its proximity to China. So ports, marine, and aerospace, another key area for there. We released a technology strategy a few weeks ago. I actually prefer to call it a commercialization strategy. We do a great job in British Columbia in developing new technologies. We spend about $200 million of your taxpayer dollars each year in research and development, primarily through our post-secondary education system. Much of that is spent on life sciences. The fellow that I was chatting with, the CEO of this company, has now developed a technology where the heart valve replacement can actually be done in a similar way to the placement of a stent. Simply going up through a vein with the heart valve, putting it in place, releasing it, and you walk out of the hospital 8 hours later, none the worse for wear. And that's BC technology that's doing that. That's developed right here in British Columbia. So, you know, I'm all for that kind of stuff. So commercialization of those products is not something that we've done a great job of in British Columbia. We have a commercialization credit program that works to link universities to businesses, to bring practical applications to research work that's done by our postgraduate students. So that's something I'd encourage you to take a look at. We also really want to lever up technology to make sure that we make our industries as productive as they possibly can be. Because productivity will be king in tough economic times, and the companies that are the most productive companies in the world will be the ones that will survive.